Welcome to the Knowledge Gumbo podcast, where we mix together timeless wisdom and thought provoking stories using quotes, sayings, proverbs, and book passages primarily by Black women. I'm your curious minded host, Alicia Thomas. What if the key to unlocking safety, love, and peace in your life is realizing you deserve them all along? Today, as we dive into the powerful words of Tarana Burke, the woman who turned her own pain into a global movement of healing and empowerment, her story isn't just inspiring, it is truly a call to action. You deserve safety. You deserve protection. You deserve love. You deserve peace by Tarana Burke. This is just an interesting statement, quote, that's so simple yet so powerful. Because as a teenager, Tarana became involved in activism through the 21st Century Youth Leadership Movement, which was a program that cultivated young Black leaders. And we need more of that today. And this experience shaped her to learn how to empower her community. And it led her on a path that leads to this simple statement, this simple quote that's powerful and embodies everything that she worked for and is working for. And the key to this is we have to accept, especially as Black women, that we deserve good things. We deserve love. We deserve peace. We deserve safety. We deserve to be protected. Because from a historical standpoint, especially in America, we didn't have that. We could not be protected. Our men were not allowed to protect us. And we have that systemic history in our DNA today, and we need to change that DNA to realize that we are worth being protected. We are worth being loved. And sometimes the first thing really is we need to do it for ourselves first. We want to seek it out in other people. We want to seek it out in our relationships with our friends. We want to seek it out in relationships with our husbands, our boyfriends, our significant others, our partners. And it's not their job. We need to come into relationships, whether it's a friendship or any other type of relationship, as a whole individual. Because when we're both whole, when it's two whole people coming together, it makes an exponentially better relationship because it's a give-give relationship. It's not a give-take because I am constantly giving to you out of a reservoir of love that I have for myself, of a need to be protected, to be safe, that I extend to those around me. And because you're a whole person, you're able to give because you're not lacking anything. And it makes the relationship bigger, better, and bolder. But we have to get into the mindset that we deserve all these things. We are worthy of all these things. We have the capacity to love. We have the capacity to protect ourselves. We have the capacity to walk in peace. We don't have to live in mess. We don't have to live in drama. We can let all of that go. It's like that movement that many are attributing to, what's the name of the author? Mel Robbins. But there's some dispute about the origination of it. But the let them theory, a lot of peace can be found and can be had if we adopt the theory of let them do what they need to do and don't let it affect you. Because if you let them, that frees you up to have a let me philosophy in that I can let me be safe. I can let me be protected. I can let me have peace. I can let me love. And we're operating in a system where there is no lack. And that's the most important thing. So I'm thinking as we're working through all of this, that we have an obligation to ourselves to understand our value because you just can't ask other people to give you what you won't give yourself. It's so critical, I think, for us to put value on ourselves instead of reaching out and putting value on other people. It's just to give us, to validate us. It's so much of our history, especially here in America, where we ask other things to validate us. The clothes we wear, the car we drive, the house we live in, the neighborhood we live in, the jewelry we wear. And that has no eternal, no lasting value. It adds nothing to us as a person. It's just window dressing. And I think we just need to move past that and understand the value of what is internal is eternal and what is external is temporary. And in understanding what we deserve, we have to set up boundaries to protect that, to not only protect our personal being, but to protect our peace. You have to put up boundaries and say, no, I will not put up with that. I will not allow you to talk to me that way. I will not allow you to treat me this way, and create boundaries for yourself so that you don't treat people the wrong way, that you don't violate your boundaries that you want for yourself against other people. But it's crucial that we have these boundaries because it allows us to have a path to go on where we don't get stagnant. We're constantly moving, growing, changing. We're not being bent to the will of others because we know who we are and we have put boundaries in place to protect ourselves physically, to protect our values, to protect our goals and how we want to move forward. We have to create these boundaries, especially for our time, for our energy, because there's so many people that want to treat you like a trash can because they bring all their mess to you. And you got to put boundaries around that. And we have to put, boundaries around our heart, not to the fact that we want love, but the fact that we know what love is and what it isn't. And I'm putting boundaries so that you can't violate what I know it is. You're not going to gaslight me. You're not going to change my mind. You're not going to treat me bad and call it love and say I'm too sensitive. I can't take a joke or I don't understand. No, I have values in place. I have boundaries in place. So when you violate that, we're not arguing. We're not going to fight. I'm not going to have a discussion with you. For a lack of a better way to say it, I'm just going to take my ball and go home. It's not worth it because I've expressed my boundaries to you. I've told my boundaries to you and you consistently violate them, whether it's you're stealing my time, stealing my energy, abusing the love I'm trying to give, or you're disturbing my peace. You have to go. Bye-bye. And that's so important to hold tight to that. And Tarana is an example of being able to practice self-care. But in the same instance, because she is a survivor of abuse, that she channeled that frustration. She created new pathways, new boundaries, and she took that pain and that frustration and turned it into positive action. And she sets boundaries on how she spends her time and who she spends her time with. Tarana Burke is the founder of the Me Too movement. I don't know that many people know that because she experienced sexual assault as both a child and as a teenager. These things ignited a spark for her to want to do advocacy work. And it was a slow buildup. It wasn't instantaneous to her getting to the point where she is right now, having a global movement. But the spark, the story goes, the spark was ignited when she met a girl in Alabama who opened up and shared about being sexually abused by her mother's boyfriend. And Burke froze. She didn't say anything to the girl and unfortunately never had a chance to, as far as I know, meet this young lady again. But after she reflected on that meeting with that girl, she told herself she wished she could have just responded, "Me too." And that was the genesis of her going to that movement, even though That encounter happened in 1997, I believe it was, 96, 97, somewhere in there, forgive me. But the actual movement did not start until 2006, and it was created to support survivors of sexual violence. Had a focus on young women of color from low income communities who didn't have pathways to share their stories to find healing and health from those experiences. Because as we know, as a culture, we tend to keep silent. What happens at home stays at home. Those kinds of things have crippled Black women for decades. I could almost probably say, and safely say, for centuries. We have been silenced by saying we have to put on a good front for the community. The movement that she created, the Me Too movement, wanted to address, and it does address, the lack of resources for these sexual assault survivors. And it's also helping to build a community of people who want to advocate and support and become allies for this community, because we have constantly been told to be silent. Our voices have been shut down, have not been listened to, because women overall, at first, were not listened to as sexual assault victims, and Black women in particular were raped at leisure during slavery, were even raped at leisure after slavery, and Black men could not do anything without risking their own lives. And in some instances, I believe that's become institutionalized, where we have a divide and many Black men are looking out for themselves and they are not protecting Black women. And at the same time, we have to learn not to be mad and angry in the sense that we don't expect and we don't demand that protection from the men in our lives. We have to let them know what we need, what we want, what we expect, and not just get mad and don't talk to them and say they should automatically know, because a lot of them grew up with men who did not do it, so they don't necessarily know how to do it. We have to have forgiveness on both sides. And I look at it as her desire to wanting to help these women start a new chapter is because she wants to end this cycle of women being in pain, women being silenced, and they're living in that same chapter of hurt and pain over and over again. She wants to help them turn the page, start a new chapter, start a new theme for their lives. It's kind of like singing. She wants to end singing the song. You know how we do in a lot of Black churches, where we can latch on to one chorus and a song that should be 3 to 5 minutes end up lasting for 20 minutes, but you don't have anything other than maybe the first verse and the chorus, or in some instances, the chorus is all you have, and you just keep singing it over and over and over again. But in this instance, in her movement, she's saying we're going to stop the cycle. We're going to help women heal, become whole, to understand their value, and to know that what happened to them was not their fault, and that they can recover and succeed and be powerful. Now, the Me Too movement that we know right now exploded when her movement was co-opted, as far as the way I look at it. I could be wrong. I have to do a little bit more homework on it. But from the outside looking in, it was co-opted by white women who were going through the Harvey Weinstein sexual abuse allegations. But a lot of those women were not. They were rich and wealthy now, and they're coming against the man. But the Me Too movement was created for women in low income areas who didn't have resources or very little resources to come up with. So like a lot of our movements and institutions have been co-opted by other communities, and it starts to mean something else other than it's what it was originally created for. So the key to her movement was, it's not just about fighting external battles that go on, but also about helping the women do the work to heal internally, to become whole again, to fight it. So let's look at our challenge for this week. Write down 3 things that bring you peace and commit to doing one this week. For me, one of the things that helps bring me peace is being by a body of water. I don't know, there's something about water that calms me, helps me focus, and I love it. So now that I've been staying in Florida for a while, helping my dad out, I like to drive over to the ocean a couple times a month or at least once a month if I can swing it and just sit on the beach and either do it at sunrise or at sunset. And there's something comforting and calming about the water for me. So share with us in the comments below, drop us a note and let us know what helps you to become calm. Because as we share this thing with other people, we can grow our communities and understand each other and say, hey, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. It's certain things you can do. It can be something as simple as, taking a walk every morning. It does not have to be long. It does not have to be far. You can take a walk. You can either listen to a podcast. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I don't have anything in my ears at all. I wanted to calm my mind and hear my own thoughts. And that brings me a lot of peace. And it also it's kind of like being in the shower. It's a way to be more creative because you're not bombarded by a bunch of things. So your brain is free to relax, to let go and say, oh, here's the answer to this problem you were trying to work on, but your mind was so busy you couldn't hear me talk to you. And we need to do that. If you guys have a chance, she has a book out called Unbound, My Story of Liberation and the Birth of the Me Too movement. It chronicles her journey from her trauma to her healing and then to her advocacy. And I recommend you pick that up and check it out or give it and share it to someone you know who is walking that same path, because we need to share and support one another. And this particular episode is being recorded on eCamp, which is a great platform for helping you to get your voice out there, to show up awesome in meetings or presentations. If you're looking to get into live streaming, it is exceptional at live streaming. What you see on YouTube here from me is all being recorded through eCam. But if you're like me too, in the sense that I don't readily live stream all the time, you can pre-record using eCam and still show up and be amazing to people. Especially eCam works exceptionally with Zoom. So the link will be in the description below. Click on it and give it a try. Thank you for spending time in our gumbo kitchen. Please leave a positive review and comment about the challenge. Remember, you are enough. Our stories and our voices matter. You are always welcome to pull up a chair and also bring a friend, because there's always room for more at the table. The gumbo is hot and made with love. And we will see you next week.
Gather round, y'all. It's time to groove. Ooh, yeah. Knowledge Gumbo's got the moves so smooth. Wisdom and stories from our queen.